And hello. All right. Very good. So first off, can we thank the band and Christine for helping lead us and set us up tonight? Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. If you are new here to Celebrate Recovery on Monday nights, we're glad that you're here. If you've been sticking around for the past several weeks, you've heard from me. I'm new to this space and transitioning to the space of the pastor of recovery. And you've heard a lot from me lately. You're going to hear a little bit from me in the following weeks, but we're going to open it up, the kind of the message space and the lesson space on Monday night a lot more in the coming weeks. For instance, next week, we're having a testimony here, which is going to be great. It's the perfect night to invite people on Monday nights to CR. And so make sure you come on out and invite people. It's going to be a great time. So it's going to be awesome. So make sure you come back next week. All right, so we are talking, this is our last week. We're actually going to be talking about the gift of desperation that we're starting out the year in, where we really are using this space in January and February to talk about steps 1 and 2 of the 12 steps. And what does it mean to actually come to grips with that we are powerless over our hurts, our habits, our hangups, and how we actually find hope and we become desperate enough to do whatever we can to get out of our hurts, our habits, or our hangups. So we're going to look at tonight we're going to look at step 2 and principle 2. So here's step 2 of the 12 steps. Let's read this out loud. All together, ready, go. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Great. And then principle 2 of the 8 principles of Celebrate Recovery is this. We eagerly believe that God exists, I matter to him, and that he has the power to help me recover. This is what we're talking about here tonight. So past couple weeks, I had a realization earlier this week that I've talked about different pictures that we have of God and how it helps to reframe how we see God and depending on what picture that you have of God. And so 2 weeks ago, I talked about how God is like a loving father, or that Jesus is like a loving father sitting on a front porch. Even if you've never had a loving father, you don't know what that's like, God is the type of father your dad should have been, okay? And Jesus is like, yeah, exactly, just hold that there, don't get ahead of me. Jesus is like sitting on a front porch looking out on the horizon, waiting for his lost sons and daughters to come home. I couldn't find an image of that on the internet. And so I decided to experiment a little bit last week, and I found artificial intelligence paints pictures of all sorts of stuff, and I drank way too much coffee. And this picture looks really great. Jesus is pensively looking out on the horizon, waiting for you and I to come home to him, waiting for you and I to come to a realization that we need his help to help us recover our lives. It's just a beautiful picture, isn't it? Yeah, it's great. Well, I had too much coffee and I had a little bit of fun with artificial intelligence. So I told it, paint a picture of Jesus sitting on a front porch looking out on the horizon. And then it gave me that. And then it went, ha, 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 ha. Paint a picture of Jesus sitting on a front porch wearing an Iron Man suit. And then it gave me this. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry you have the dumb pastor here on Monday nights with you all now. So then last week we talked about what's another picture of Jesus. And Jesus is like the contractor who comes to help you fix your broken down house, where he doesn't come and judging the state of everything. Don't get ahead of me. I see you putting up these pictures. Jesus comes to our house, instead of judging the state of things, going, it's a dump in here, clean it up. He comes with his work clothes and a construction hat and his tools on, ready to help us rebuild our lives. Now, here's what I also noticed. This just looks like a Loxahatchee bro, does he not? All he's missing is the tattoos and a pickup truck. Oh my goodness. So this is normal. Then I thought I had too much coffee and I went, ha, 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 ha. Now paint Jesus as a contractor working on a fixer-upper with a pet bear that's helping him in his projects. And then this came out. Look at that. Isn't he adorable? Yeah, it's cute. It's stupid, but it's fun. And so Jesus has been a father looking out on a front porch. He's been a contractor helping us to rebuild our life and to fix our broken down homes. And then tonight, we're actually going to talk about an image that Jesus himself gives to us, where he calls himself a doctor. And so he said, paint me a picture of Jesus as a doctor. And this is what came out. And I don't know why Jesus looks like Jared Leto, but whatever. And then, because I couldn't help myself and I had too much coffee, I went, now paint him as a doctor holding a baby velociraptor. There it is. Which I don't know what's creepier, Jesus holding a velociraptor or how it has 3 arms. That's how you know it's fake. Go ahead and take that off. Nobody likes that. Okay, anyway. So we're going to talk tonight about Jesus as a doctor. Jesus as a doctor, what do you mean by that? Well, let me take you to the passage that talks about Jesus as a doctor, and what in the world does that have to do with my recovery, even if you're not even sure of the Jesus thing, okay? Just hang with me. This comes from Mark chapter 2. That's right. Mark chapter 2, and it starts at verse 13 and 17. So if you have notes, the COH app in the CR section, there's message notes in there that you could follow along, and you can just read this with me here, there, from the screens. And so it says this here, once again, Jesus went out beside the lake. A large crowd came to him, and he began to teach them. And as he walked along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax collector's booth. Now, pause. It's tax season. This is not Levi. This is also the same disciple who's called Matthew. They often had nicknames in scriptures like that. So he's not like your local H&R Block person. He's not the local tax person or whatever. If you were a tax collector in the ancient world, you were the equivalent of a traitor because you were helping Rome extort money from people, your own people. So it's like a total traitor. So like, God forbid, you guys remember the 80s movie Red Dawn? Remember that? Yeah, okay, so like, it's like Russia invades the United States in the 1980s, and you become a Russian tax collector in America. It's like that for them, the sense of betrayal and being such a traitor. So Levi is sitting at the traitor's booth. That's what he's doing, and Jesus picks him to be on his team. Follow me, Jesus told him, and everyone went, oh, him? Yes, him. And Levi got up and followed Jesus. Very cool. Now, let's keep going. While Jesus was having dinner at Levi's house, many tax collectors, so it's not just one traitor, it's a bunch of traitors, tax collectors and sinners, which I like how tax collectors was put before sinners here. Tax collectors and sinners were eating with him and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. That's awesome. I'm just now noticing that. Notice that there's many of these types of people who are following Jesus. That's pretty cool. Many were following him. When the teachers of the law, who were Pharisees, saw him eating with the sinners and tax collectors, they asked his disciples, why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? On hearing this, Jesus said to them, it is not the healthy who need a doctor. There it is. It's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. And I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. Interesting. Let's dissect this just a little bit for our lesson for tonight. So we're going to go back into it with verse, I think, 17 at first. And so if you're taking notes, underline this. On hearing this, Jesus said to them, it's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. So Jesus is clearly using the metaphor of medicine and health for himself and how he helps people. And one of the ways that he can help people, no matter where you find yourself, especially in your spiritual journey, Jesus identifies himself as a doctor. Okay, well, if he's a doctor, then what is he trying to treat in me? What remedy is he trying to, what's he trying to heal or try to fix or try to restore in me if it's a healing metaphor? So then it goes on, I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. Go ahead and underline that to the next slide, guys. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. So if Jesus is a doctor and he's come to help me, what has he come to help me with? Well, he's come not to help righteous people, but sinners. Now, sinner is like a super duper churchy word. And what we do here on Monday night, we are in a church. It's faith oriented. This is not Sunday morning church. This is a totally different purpose here on Monday night. Well, you guys are getting ahead of me. Hold on now. So what is a sinner? What is a sinner? And what does it mean when we say sinners here on Monday night? Well, here's a helpful definition of this. Sinners are people who are broken by hurts, habits, or hang-ups. Newsflash, that's us, everybody. That's me. That's you. Go ahead and put that up, guys. That's all of us here tonight. People who are broken by hurts, habits, and hang-ups. That's what a sinner is. So take the churchiness out of it. Have any of you been broken by life? Any of you ever heard the phrase that life is a full contact sport? Anybody ever had some life happen to you? Now what's interesting here is that how people experience being broken because of their hurt, because of their habits, because of their hang-ups. It's not only the things that we have done. It's also because of the things that have been done to us. One of my new friends here on Monday night told me in their struggle with alcohol that their alcoholism wasn't their problem. Alcohol was their solution to their problem that made their problem even worse. Make sense? Jesus is hanging out with people who have been broken by life. Jesus is hanging out with people who don't have it all together. And this is the crowd that he chooses to hang out with. This is the crowd he chooses to have dinner with. It's not everybody who's the holy rollers, who have everything spick and span and everything's perfect in their life, but it's the people who have had life hit them hard and they need what he offers to them, which is wonderful news for us here tonight. That the people who understand that I'm broken are the ones who can easily connect to the God who has the power to restore my life and help me recover my life. So let's rewind. So if Jesus is there to help me and to heal what's broken in my life because of my hurts and my habits and my hang-ups, I want to go back to step 2. How does he do some of this? We're going to put step 2 back up here. So we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves, which in traditional 12-step programs, it's people's, the God of their own understanding and a higher power. And we create generous space for people to navigate faith here at our church. We believe our higher power is Jesus, but if you're still figuring that out, you're not going to get shunned for that here. You can gradually navigate faith in this space. Nonetheless, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to, if you're underline that word, sanity. Could restore us to sanity. If Jesus is a healer for my life, one of the things that he wants to bring healing towards is towards me experiencing sanity. Now, is that a part in a mental health sphere? Yes. Jesus can help increase people's mental health, and my goodness, we need that today, right? Yeah, right, for real. Lord, please, a little bit more. But let's dissect that. Just for a brief moment, let's dissect it. If he's come to restore sanity to my life, well, what's the opposite of sanity? Insanity. What's insanity? So we're not necessarily talking about only the mental health sphere, but I love this definition of insanity, especially in a recovery space. Insanity can be defined as this: doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result each time. Surely none of us in here have a hurt, a habit, or a hang-up where we keep doing the same thing, expecting different results every time we do it. Oof. For me and my brokenness, it's, well, if I try to manage this situation and manage people and control people and do all this enough, then I'll have peace in my life and I'll feel better. Except for what happens when you try to overly control people. They don't do anything you say that you think they should do. If we think, well, just this one time, I know I can drink tonight, just one, and I can turn it off. I can take another hit and I can just do just one and then I can turn it off. I can eat this or consume this or engage in a relationship just this one time, just this one thing, and then I can turn it off. And then does it ever work out that way? No, it doesn't. I love how in the big book it says that we were defenseless against the first drink, that after the first drink, forget it. That's insanity. And this is what a lot of us need rescuing from, where we are doing the same thing Pick your poison. It could be a substance, it could be a chemical, it can be a relationship, it can be sex, it can be porn, it can be control, it can be whatever it might be. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result each time. But this time I'm just going to try a lot harder. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So that's insanity. So what happens when God in his love, and Jesus in his love, and in his power that's greater than my power, what does he do? When he begins to recover, help me recover and restore my life? Well, he restores sanity. And sanity is this. Sanity is, we're going to go ahead and put up the definition, it's wholeness of mind, making decisions that are based on the truth. I'm no longer fooling myself with doing the same thing over and over and over again, but I'm expecting a different result each time. I'm now making decisions based on the truth, not on the script from my parents and the broken relationship I had from abusive parents and my mom and my dad growing up. I'm not making decisions based off of the rejection and the pain I felt from failed relationships. I'm not making decisions based on the own hateful voice about myself that I have in my head. I'm making decisions based on truth. And when we do that, we begin to recover our lives. So when we, in steps 1 and 2, come to full grips with the fact that I am totally powerless over this hurt, over this habit, over this hang-up that I have, I can't fix myself anymore. And when you come to grips with that, there's hope for your situation because there's a power greater than you who loves you, who's here to help you. When you get desperate enough to do anything to help recover your life, what do you get? You get sanity. And here's a little acrostic that we have that we're going to put up here. What are some of the things that you get when you practice step 1 and step 2 in the 12 steps? Well, first off, S stands for strength. And you begin to have strength that is not of your own. In the recovery community, people talk about white knuckling stuff and just trying hard on your own to change, and you just can't do it no matter how hard you try. Well, guess what? Now, once you come to grips with step 1 and step 2, you get connected to a source of strength that is outside of you, a power that is greater than you, to be able to say no to what you're struggling with and to give you strength to live in a healthy and a whole way. You get acceptance. Now, this isn't just acceptance from a community, which I hope you do get here. This is a safe place. This is about the gift of accepting what I can't control. We're going to pray the Serenity Prayer later tonight, and most recovery communities pray the Serenity Prayer every week. And oh my gosh, if you have not felt the supernatural peace that comes when you are given grace and serenity to accept what you cannot change anymore, especially if you're codependent, oh my gosh. It's like the best thing since sliced bread. So when you learn to accept what you can't control, that's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful gift. And as you get a new start, you get a new start and you get new life. This is what Keith was talking about, who was leading us with worship earlier, is when you get a fresh start, you get a redo at life. Anybody here need a redo, a reset, a start over? I was teaching a bunch of kids earlier today at one of our other campuses, and I was talking about the OG Nintendo. Anybody ever played the old school, the original Nintendo? Yeah, and there are 2 buttons on there. There was start and reset. And sometimes we just need to have a reset with life. And the truth is that Jesus gives people resets when you need a do-over with life. He can do that for you. So if you need a do-over, man, that's available here tonight, now for you. I stands for integrity. It's a wonderful thing when you begin to have freedom, when somebody gives you freedom so you don't have to live a double life or a triple life or a quadruple life anymore. It's a wonderful thing when you don't have to lie anymore. It's great because when you tell the truth all the time, you just don't have to worry about anything. I would be stressed out if I was trying to live a double life because I would be trying to work too hard to remember what lies I said to what people. Anybody been there before? The lying and the cheating and all the other stuff. That's what we say sometimes. Anyway, there's that. And then you get trust. This is another gift when you step into step 1 and step 2. when you get the trust of the people around you. So everyone look to your left and to your right. Yeah, we practice anonymity here. What happens here stays here, here. But everyone look to your left and to your right. Look at all these people. Look behind you and look in front of you. Like, seriously, everyone turn around. Don't just turn. If you're in the front, turn around, look at the people in the back. This is a community. I am drinking a ton of coffee getting to know a bunch of you. And I'm having lunches and Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. If I were to go give blood today, coffee would come out of my veins. Okay? And you know what the thing I keep hearing from you guys about this community on Monday night? You know what I keep hearing? Over and over and over again. People say, this is a family. It's been a family, especially for some of you long old timers who have been part of the foundation of recovery here on Monday nights. This has felt like a family. And when you lean into step 1 and step 2, you gain the trust of other people around you, and other people give you their trust. It's a beautiful thing when it goes 2 ways, when you develop rich, forever family with a recovery family here on Monday night. And if you're new, this ain't a clique. This is a family that can always grow bigger, and we hope it will. And we're praying, God, send us the people who are totally hopeless and are broken by hurts and habits and hangups, because we got a seat for them, right? Right. And then lastly, what do you get? When you step into step 1 and step 2, you get your higher power. Let me tell you about Jesus, the doctor. He loves you. He's crazy about you. When people still had pictures in their wallets, he has a picture of you in his wallet. Jesus now has a smartphone, and I promise you it's an Apple, because Android, It's the oldest joke in the book I have right now. Keep coming back, yeah. On his phone, the background of it is a picture of you. Because he loves you. And he loves you so much that he loves you right where you're at right now, at your lowest moment, at your rock bottom, when everything has gone straight to hell in your life. That's when he loves you the most. And he loves you so much, he won't leave you there. He'll come sit with you in it and then pick you up, and you'll walk out of it together if you'll let him and if you'll work it and if you trust him. It works if you work it. You get a wonderful higher power who really, really, really can heal your life and help you recover it. All right, so every week we give a practical tool that you can practice right away, and we give questions for small groups. So here's our tool for tonight. Our tool is rewind the tape. Everyone say that. Rewind the tape. And this is a wonderful practical tool where we tell people, now think about how we defined insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. When you rewind the tape, think about in the past, before you make a decision, go back into the past, rewind the tape. Remember, be kind, rewind. Okay? All right, for anybody who's like 30 and under, there's going to be some explaining to do for this illustration. I'm just not realizing this. Instead of the tape, just hit rewind. We're going to have to change this metaphor in the future. Many people might not have done tapes. Anyway, I digress. That's where you go back into your past and you replay decisions that you've made. And when I made this decision before, how did it turn out? And do I want it to turn out that way again? And if I don't, I might need to make a different decision. So before you go do something, before you give into compulsion, maybe it's a compulsion to drink, a compulsion to use, a compulsion to control, a compulsion to watch, a compulsion to sleep with, whatever it is, whatever your compulsion is, pause, rewind the tape, play it back. Are you having a sane moment or an insane moment? And if you're about to do something insane, pick up your phone and call somebody. Okay? All right, so here's our questions for small group tonight. Everyone take out your phone. Do not take a picture of anybody else, but you can take a picture of me and take a picture of the screen here so we're all on the same page in small groups. Here's our question. What are the things I keep doing or kept doing, because some of us are experiencing real recovery and freedom. What are the things I keep doing or I kept doing over and over again expecting different results? And then question 2 is, what is it I need Jesus to be my doctor for and heal in me. Let's pray. Jesus, thank you that you are a wonderful doctor and that you've not come for righteous people who have it all together, but you've come to be friends with sinners and broken people like me and like all of us. It's my favorite part about you. So, Lord, the only people who are worthy to be your friend are those who realize they're not worthy. And so we're not worthy. Would you come eat and dine with us, this ragtag group, a bunch of sinners that we are. People who are broken by our hurts and our habits and our hang-ups. Come be our doctor and our healer and help us recover our lives. In your name I pray. Everyone said, amen. Would you welcome Christine on up?
So there's a really bad thing that happens when you message prep with Trevor is you have the opportunity 5 days before the rest of you to work what we've already worked on up here. And so this morning I had an opportunity to rewind the tape. I had a conversation with someone where I felt that they weren't communicating correctly, and I wanted to help them communicate correctly. I'm a little hard of hearing, but I heard a lot of laughter right there. So what I did was I stopped after I tried to correct, and I rewound the tape. And I recognized that in the past, that didn't go well. It became an argument. And so what I chose to do was get off the insane train and do something different and be quiet and allow the other person to navigate their stuff and not lose my serenity over it. So I encourage you, rewind the tape because it works when we work it. So I want to thank you, Pastor Trevor.